There is a town in America that has been on fire for over 60 years, and a few people still refuse to leave, not because they don't know it's burning, not because they can't leave, because they choose not to. Beneath their homes, beneath the roads, beneath the hills and forests surrounding them, a fire has been raging underground since 1962. It's still burning today. No one knows exactly when it will stop. Some experts say it could burn for another century. Others believe it may continue for hundreds of years. The government spent millions trying to put it out. They failed. Eventually they gave up. Then they did something almost unthinkable. They bought an entire town, house by house, street by street, family by family, and they told everyone to leave. Most did. A few refused. And that decision turned Centralia, Pennsylvania, into one of the strangest places in America. A place where the earth smokes, the ground cracks open, and a handful of residents have spent decades fighting to stay in a town the rest of the world abandoned. This is the story of Centralia, the town that wouldn't stop burning, and the people who wouldn't leave. To understand Centralia, you have to go back to a time when it was completely ordinary. Nestled among the rolling hills of Pennsylvania's coal country, Centralia was once a thriving mining community. Families built lives there. Children rode bicycles down quiet streets. Neighbors knew each other. Church bells echoed through town. Baseball games filled summer evenings. It wasn't famous. It wasn't wealthy. But it was home. For generations, coal was everything. Coal built the town, fed the town, employed the town. Beneath Centralia sat massive underground coal deposits stretching for miles. The mines brought jobs. The mines brought people. Then came May 1962. A seemingly routine decision changed everything. The town wanted to clean up a landfill before Memorial Day celebrations. Trash had accumulated in a dump, located near an abandoned mining pit. Workers set the garbage on fire. It was something that had reportedly been done before. Nobody expected disaster. Nobody imagined they were about to ignite a fire that would outlive everyone involved. Somehow flames reached exposed coal seams underground. At first, nobody realized what had happened. But beneath the surface, something terrifying had begun. The coal caught fire. And once it did, it started spreading. Slowly. Silently. Invisible to the people living above it. Underground coal fires are nightmares. They can move through tunnels, travel through cracks, feed on enormous fuel supplies, and they're incredibly difficult to extinguish. By the time officials understood the danger, the fire had already spread. Attempts were made to stop it. Excavation projects, trenches, water injections, millions of dollars were spent. Every solution failed. The fire simply moved elsewhere, like a living thing, always one step ahead. Years passed, then decades. The fire kept burning. Residents began noticing strange things. Warm patches of ground appeared in winter. Steam rose from cracks in the earth. Smoke drifted from hillsides. Trees died unexpectedly. The smell of sulfur lingered in the air. Some areas became dangerously unstable. The ground itself was changing. Then came one of the most frightening incidents in the town's history. In 1981, a 12-year-old boy named Todd Domboski was playing in his grandmother's yard. Without warning, the ground beneath him collapsed. A sinkhole suddenly opened. The boy fell toward a deep hole connected to the burning mine below. Reports described toxic gases pouring from the opening. Fortunately, a relative managed to pull him to safety. But the incident shocked the nation. For many people, it became proof that Centralia was no longer safe. The town wasn't just burning, it was collapsing. The federal government took notice. Studies painted a grim picture. The underground fire was spreading. Homes could become unsafe. Toxic gases posed risks. Future sinkholes were possible. Officials faced a difficult decision. Eventually, they concluded there was only one realistic solution: move everyone out. In the 1980s, the government launched a buyout program. Residents received offers for their homes. Families faced heartbreaking choices: stay in a town with an uncertain future, or leave behind generations of memories. Many accepted. One by one, houses emptied. Neighbors disappeared. Businesses closed. Schools shut down. Entire streets became silent. Then the demolition crews arrived. House after house vanished. Block after block disappeared. Centralia slowly ceased to exist. Imagine watching your hometown being erased, not by war, not by a natural disaster, but by an invisible fire burning beneath your feet. For many former residents, it felt like losing a family member. Memories remained. The town did not. By the 1990s, Centralia had become famous. Television crews arrived. Journalists documented the empty streets. Urban explorers wandered through abandoned areas. The town inspired books, documentaries, and eventually elements of the horror franchise Silent Hill. To outsiders, Centralia became a curiosity, a mystery, a tourist attraction. But for former residents, it was something much more painful. It was home, and then came the people who refused to leave. While most residents accepted relocation, a small number remained. They challenged government decisions, they fought legal battles, they argued that Centralia was still their home. Many had spent their entire lives there. Their parents lived there. Their grandparents lived there. Their histories were rooted in the land. To them, leaving meant losing part of themselves. Years turned into decades. The population continued shrinking. Dozens became a handful. A handful became only a few. The rest of America moved on. The fire kept burning, and those remaining residents stayed. Imagine waking up every morning knowing that somewhere beneath your house flames have been burning. Knowing experts consider your town unsafe. Knowing nearly everyone else has left, and still choosing to stay. It's difficult for many people to understand. But home is not always rational. Home is emotional. Home is memories. Home is identity. Sometimes people will fight for that long after logic says they shouldn't. Today, very little remains of Centralia. Many roads lead nowhere. Most houses are gone. Entire neighborhoods exist only in photographs. Nature has reclaimed large sections of the town. Trees grow where families once gathered. Silence fills streets that were once alive. And yet, the fire remains, still burning, still moving underground, still reminding everyone that some disasters never truly end. Which brings us to the people who stayed. The last residents of Centralia have become symbols of something larger than the town itself. They're not just people living near an underground fire. They're people defending a connection to place, a connection to memory, a connection to a life that no longer exists. When journalists interview them, many speak less about danger and more about belonging. Less about the fire and more about the community they lost. Because the hardest part wasn't the smoke, or the sinkholes, or even the government's buyout. The hardest part was watching neighbors disappear, watching memories disappear, watching an entire town disappear. And today, after more than 60 years of burning, that's what Centralia represents. Not just a fire, but a reminder. A reminder that places are more than buildings, more than streets, more than property lines. They're collections of lives, stories, friendships, families. And even when the buildings vanish, those things remain. The underground fire may continue for generations, long after the last resident is gone, long after the final memory fades. But for the people who refuse to leave, Centralia was never simply a town. It was their town. And even now, as smoke rises from the earth and the world watches from a distance, many of them feel the same thing they've always felt. Not fear, not regret, but love for the place they still call home.